hard work.
Working a little bit harder.
Work ethic.
Very hard working.
Work ethic.
Work ethic.
Hello, Believe Nation. My name is Evan Carmichael. My one word is believe, and I believe that entrepreneurs are going to solve all the major problems of the world. So to help you on your journey today, we're going to learn how you can develop an insane work ethic. And as always, guys, if you hear something that really resonates with you, please leave it down in the comments below. Put quotes around it so other people can be inspired as well. And when you write it down, it's much more likely to stick for yourself too. Enjoy.
So whatever time my call time is, and I tell this to studios and directors and our producers, whatever time my call time, so my call time is at 7, then you back your clock up 4 hours, and then that's when I get up and train twice. I'll get my cardio in and breakfast, and then I'll go hit the weights. Clanging and banging, we call it. Jack and iron.
But like, what time do you go to bed? I mean, you might shoot really late at night.
I'm averaging, on a movie, I'll average probably about 5 hours or so.
You know, hard work pays. I put in a hell of a lot of work all throughout this build-up in the fight. I pumped out more content than anybody, more content than Fox, more content than ESPN, more content than BT Sport, more content than everybody on the Mac Live on my own channels. You know what I mean? I'm a workhorse from all angles, not just in the gym. But I'm building this media empire now myself, and we pumped out the content. I'm very proud of how it went. We consistently, daily movies I was releasing, you know, from like a month ago, every single day. You know what I mean? Nobody's doing that. So I'm very proud of it, and I'm very, like, the work pays, hard work pays, and I put in the work, and that's why I'm sitting at the top. I put it all on the line, I show up, I perform, and I get the results from that.
I knew I was wired to be excited about business. How or why, I don't know. Nowitzki may not be the most talented guy in the NBA, but his discipline and his focus to do what's necessary to be successful, he's willing to do, and combine it with being 7 feet tall and being skilled, you know, it makes him an amazing basketball player. So it's understanding what your skill set is, finding the right place to use those skills, and then going for it.
I remember asking my dad to, I wanted new basketball shoes because I was a basketball junkie back then. He's like, well, your shoes work. If you want a new pair of tennis shoes, you have to go out there and get a job. And I'm like, Dad, I'm 12 years old, and it just so happens he was playing poker with his buddies, and one of his buddies was like, well, I got a job for you. I've got these garbage bags that we distribute. You can sell them door to door. I'm like, okay. And it was when I was selling them and realizing that I liked to sell and that I could sell, and that I recognized that selling was about providing a service and creating value for people, that I knew that I would, literally back then, I knew that I could always succeed. I mean, I remember I was 16, I think, when I started a stamp company and started going to stamp shows and trade shows and just working a little bit harder than other people and trading up from one stamp to the next. I remember one time I started with a quarter and bought a stamp and left with $50, thinking, hey, if I could do this, I could do anything. And it's not that everything worked. I failed a lot, but I never ever felt like I wouldn't be able to work hard enough to succeed.
And so the one thing my father gave me, which was really key, was that work ethic. That ability to get myself up in the morning, no matter how tired I was, to push myself through those pain barriers. And again, the combination of the loss of a mother at 6, and then being sent out to work at 10, I mean, starting work at 5 o'clock in the morning to do the milk round, being dropped off at 8:45 at school in the milk van, you know, that work ethic. So that combination of those two, work ethic and great insecurity, was what got me to where I went to.
You tend to be incredibly modest in terms of describing your talents, and you always seem to belittle your abilities to a certain extent, when clearly there's a reason why everything you do has been working out. I was reading about how you said that to a certain extent that comes from your punk rock roots.
Yep, there was no other choice. In those days, there was no idea of this makes money. There's no idea of like, this is my future. It was like a week at a time. We have 5 shows. We're gonna get to Sunday. And even those days were like fraught with turbulence. And so I never really saw a future. None of us did. And some of us, you know, didn't make it. Some of them are dead, and some of them are just
kind of trying to recreate their past. And so I realized that I have to be very hardworking because I don't have kind of the ease of talent. And I come from that. And I think in a way, a lot of ways it served me very well in that I am as kind of hardworking as I've ever been, completely without confidence. And I have none. I don't want any, because I think you turn your back on the thing and that's when you get gored, is when you think, I got this. I never think I got this. I think, oh man, don't screw this up. And I go at everything, like including you and I sitting here right now. I'm trying to be fully engaged. And that intensity, I think, has served me quite well. But it comes from punk rock, absolutely. Every damn person who said I wouldn't be anything, I'm crushing them every day. Everybody I had to endure in any band I was in, every day, into a powder.
It's muscle memory. And you're constantly trying to learn. You're still thinking, but your ratio of thinking to acting is very different. You know, at the beginning, I was thinking about it this much, in my cognitive brain, and then there was this much, just whatever thin reed of talent you have is there, and then you're thinking about the rest. And then over the years, I think, they always say the reptile brain. The reptile portion of your brain is where respiration, heartbeat. Right. That's the stuff that even if you're knocked unconscious, it's still working. I really believe a lot of my talk show or comedy instincts are now in my reptile brain, that you could knock me out and my heart would still beat, I'd still breathe, and I'd still be asking Lindsay Lohan, some stupid question. But then it's just how much will. I really do think there's just I think people underestimate. It doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound cool.
How much do you want it?
Work ethic, and just how badly do you want it? And there have been, many times in the, throughout the years of doing my show where I've thought, you could shoot me in the chest before I walk out there, and I'll still walk out there and do that show, and then I'll come backstage and die.
The interesting thing for me to talk to you, and what makes you so fascinating, is the talent that you see on the screen. But at the same time, there is a certain innocence, and yet a certain power, and it seems to me it's both artist and also business.
Oh, thank you.
But do you believe that?
Yes,
am I right?
I've worked very hard to make that.
To make it just that.
To make that true, so thank you.
Yeah. That it's both that.
Thank you, because without gaining some sort of control over the business, I lose some control over the creative, which is most important. So
and the more you control the business, the more you can give flower to the creative.
Exactly.
Or give wings to the creative.
Yeah. So I used to stay out of it. I don't care. I don't want to. I'm an artist. I don't need it. But this is my business now, and it's my. It is important that my agent always says I'm his only client that ever calls him back as soon as because it's my business, and I respect my business.
Your agent says you're the only client that calls him back to say
immediately. If I have a missed call, I'm probably the only. I return emails, I return phone calls because
you want to know what the options there are.
Yes, I've worked really hard to build this, and I want to continue building it. And it's my business, my personal business. So I don't understand how people do slack.
I have a disease. I'm a workaholic, and it's like being an alcoholic. I just can't give it up. I've been unwell for 2 weeks, and I feel unwell. So I can't go to work. Because I can't go to work, I get worse. If I sit in one place, I'm stressed. The reason I'm not fidgeting too much is because I'm unwell. Otherwise, I hate sitting in one place. Some work has to be given to me. My wife and my children keep telling me that, you work 20 years round the clock. Why are you doing this? I don't think I need the money. I don't think I'm greedy for more fame. I'm doing okay. I can do one film in 2 years and be happy with it, but I'm just not happy. I tell everyone, if I'm not working, I'm depressed. So I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing.
Well, you come from the working class background that I come from. I feel guilty at 10 to 5 if I'm not in the office. I know that might sound strange to you, but there's a work ethic that I have to be half dead not go to work. It's a kind of a work ethic that's built into me.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to know, what was your biggest takeaway from this video? What are you going to immediately apply somehow to your life or to your business? Leave it down in the comments below. I'm super curious to find out. So thank you guys again for watching. I believe in you. I hope you continue to believe in yourself and whatever your one word is. Much love. I'll see you soon.